I have been informed that my announcement has been deemed disrespectful.
Listen up, Dwayne, you bald fraud!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the greatest of all time!
Seth Rollins, I'm coming for you, boy. I'm coming hard.
I am a visionary! I am a revolutionary!
The never seen 17!
Look at you now, boy! Ah! Look at you now! 4 letters, 1 word.
Last real champion, John Cena!
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Rasslin. Ryan and Mike. What's up, Mike?
What's going on, everybody? How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing all right. Just prepping for a big weekend of wrestling all around.
All around the big...
TNA Slammiversary, AEW Forbidden Door,
right?
The champions.
You know, because AEW is the best, product in pro wrestling right now. I know Ryan can admit to that. I know Ryan can admit to that full-heartedly.
I would rather watch TNA than AEW. So,
oh my gosh!
But
only
anyway,
because of their affiliation with WWE.
But I just acknowledge all three. I said it's a big weekend of wrestling because all three of them have a pay-per-view.
That's true. It is a very big weekend of wrestling, and that's why we were recording here today.
Yeah, it is because it's not often where there's like 2 of them having a pay-per-view, but it's not often where we get all 3 of them having a pay-per-view the same weekend.
Right. Yeah, it's a huge weekend in professional wrestling. But before we get started for today's podcast, I like to remind you guys where you can hit that subscribe button, follow us on all of our social medias. You can follow us on X. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Spotify. You can follow us on MySpace. You can follow us on AOL AIM. You can follow us on, Windows 96. We are all there at Lace 'em Up Sports. Guys, hit like, subscribe, follow us. We need to up our numbers. That's where you guys come in. Ain't that right, Ryan?
Yes, sir. Everything he just said.
But what are we talking about today, Ryan?
We are going to be recapping this week's past Monday Night Raw. Or I guess for us Monday Morning Raw.
Monday Morning Raw.
Because it was 11 a.m. for us because they were live in London.
Right. Which we're kind of heading towards the end of our overseas tour for WWE.
Yeah, I think they have one more week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they were in London this past Monday.
They actually taped SmackDown last night.
Okay.
Or yesterday because they're traveling to Saudi Arabia probably today or tomorrow for Night Champions.
Yep.
And then I'm pretty sure they're doing Monday Night Raw in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, definitely. So, over the last several weeks, we have built up Night of Champions. How are you feeling about this card going into Night of Champions?
It's a mixed bag for me. I think there are some matches that are it's great to see getting you. Like, for example, this is the first time ever the Women's United States Championship is being defended on a pay-per-view. First time ever.
And the Women's US title has been around, 2 years now?
I believe so, because it was primarily either defended on a SmackDown or Saturday Night's Main Event, which isn't a pay-per-view.
Right.
And so it'll be Tiffany Stratton defending against Jade Cargill.
Right.
So that's one of the matches. Have they had good matches? Not really, but I'm just glad to see the Women's U.S. title finally being defended on a pay-per-view.
Right. We're going to get into predictions in a little bit, but kind of run us down of what's been going on through Raw and SmackDown the last several weeks.
Yeah, so obviously, Raw and SmackDown have been building toward Night of Champions, especially last week on SmackDown. It actually kicked off with the WWE Championship match, which I was surprised because you would think that's the main event. Come on, it's WWE Championship. But it kicked off with Sami Zayn as special guest referee. So you knew something was going to go down in this match with Sami being special guest referee. So Sammy was doing, he was being as impartial as he could be. He was doing his job with Cody, but the fans booed because they thought he was only doing it to Cody, and they started doing it to Gunther. He got in Cody's face and Gunther's face. Got to the point where Gunther and Sammy got physical. Gunther powerbombed Sammy. Another ref came. Sammy took out the ref, and then Gunther was going for a move. He was holding on the rope. Sammy kicked him off the ropes. Cody rolled him for the pin, and then Sammy did the fast count. And Cody retained. They all got pissed off. Cody went back out, wanted the match to be restarted. It restarted with another ref, and then Sammy came out, took out Gunther, and now we have a triple threat at Night of Champions: Sami Zayn versus Gunther versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship.
You know, I haven't been the biggest fan of this whole feud, especially with Gunther. I mean, like, I like Gunther. I just think that it's just been kind of mid. It's been kind of mid. It hasn't really been hitting for me.
It's
I think in Sami Zayn has been good. Hopefully, they can capitalize off to something that they can carry off in the next few weeks with this.
it would be great if Sammy wins on
Oh,
Saturday.
oh my
And
gosh, yeah.
the reason I think there's a higher likelihood of it happening is because it's in Saudi Arabia. And
Right,
Sammy's going to get a massive pop in Saudi Arabia.
right,
Saudi Arabia is basically his second home. It's like every time he goes to Canada, he gets like one of the loudest pops out of anybody. Basically in Saudi Arabia, he's going to be the babyface in this match.
right, right,
At least crowd wise.
right. Yeah,
Crowd
he will.
crowd.
I mean, despite he's Sami Zayn, they never did a full heel turn with Sami
He's
Zayn.
he's more like tweener right now.
I would say he's like 75% heel, 25% babyface at this point.
And somebody, I think I mentioned it before, but I saw it somewhere. Someone mentioned a good idea. They're like, oh, give Sammy the Bret Hart treatment, make him like a beloved babyface internationally, and then just
Yeah.
make him like a hated heel in the States.
Honestly, that could work. If you were to think about it, Bret Hart from 1997, was hated here in the United States, but beloved everywhere in Europe and across the ocean, in overseas, everywhere. He was beloved. He was a hero. But he came
He
back to
was,
the United States.
he was,
He was a hated man. So
yeah,
I could
and I
think,
feel like, and we haven't seen that since that time.
right. Yeah, we have
And I
not.
and I and I think if anybody can make it work, I think Sammy could make it work. I
Yeah.
mean, you've heard his reactions lately in the international shows. He gets loud pops, the crowd singing his theme song, and then
Yeah.
in the States he's getting booed. So
Yeah.
it's like it's kind of already there.
Yeah. And look at his t-shirt, the last real good guy.
Which which it's funny because it feels like the last couple of years we've had a trope of the last real something.
Yeah. The last
Last
real.
year Cena was the last real champion.
And then Brock is the last real ass kicker.
Yeah. And then I think Kevin Owens was like the real WWE champion or something
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
Well, that's before.
Yeah, but so it is funny how that's kind of become a trope the last couple years, the last real whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
of course, we'll get into predictions later, but yeah, that's kind of what happened on SmackDown. That's how that came to fruition.
Talk to us about what's been going on with the Bloodline on Monday Night Raw. I think, everyone is kind of just looking at this as like, really? We're kind of repeating what we have already
It,
seen
it's the
3 years
same
ago.
stuff. It's like missionary position. It's the same thing every week, just with role reversals. Like this time, Jacob is the new Jay because remember, Jay didn't want to fall in line. Jay
Right.
was the rebellious one. He was the one that's like, no, I'm gonna stand up for myself and the family. We're not gonna listen to you. And then he lost and had to fall in line, and that's basically what Jacob Fatu did. Um, and then even though we can't watch SmackDown until Friday, but I saw the results. The MFTs are no more. Solo Sikoa is on his own.
Oh, wow. So,
So
they're going to put Solo
it's
back
only a
into the
matter of time
Bloodline.
before Solo comes back into the bloodline. There are rumors that WWE wants to bring in Zilla Fatu.
Right. Yeah. I think, no, he's already been at the Performance Center. I think he's already under contract for WWE.
Yeah, they're probably just waiting for the right moment for him to debut.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So,
And who knows, maybe they do a story where like Solo's willing to join in, but then Roman's like, no, I've already got somebody to fill your place. I
mm,
found somebody to fill your shoes.
I just don't want to see this become a thing where, remember back in the original run of the Bloodline where Roman Reigns would, it seemed like he was going to lose the title and then somebody else would debut. Like, remember when Solo?
Like look how Solo debuted. Solo debuted at Clash at the Castle
Right.
when it was Roman versus Drew.
Yeah.
Drew had a beat, and then Solo was in the black hoodie because WWE loves their black hoodies.
Yeah.
And he pulled out the ref, and that's how Solo started. And it's kind of very similar to
But we've
how
seen that all, like, even in the MFTs, we saw that how, that's how Jacob Fatu debuted. That's how the Talatonga and what's his name? The other guys,
Tongaloa,
Tongaloa, that's how all of them debuted. We don't need to
and,
see
and
that trope again.
and that's also how they all returned too. Jimmy
Yeah.
returned wearing a black hoodie, and
Yeah.
Jacob Fatu returned wearing a black hoodie.
Right. The Black Hoodie needs to retire. Go along with John Cena. Bye bye, Black Hoodie. We don't need to
But
see the Black Hoodie again.
yeah, like I get what they're trying to do, but at the same time, it's like if you really want to make Roman feel like a world champion, well, have him do it on his own.
Yeah.
You gotta have him prove he can do it on his own.
But I think all roads are coming down to Roman Reigns versus Obafemi. That's
And
where
it
it
could be
has to go.
as soon as SummerSlam.
It could be. They could push it out to Saudi Mania in several months. But
Possibly, but it's also like how are they going to be able to push it? And I don't know if people want to see Roman with the title for that long.
and here's a problem with that. Roman Reigns will have to continue to defend the title, and you don't want to have a situation where he's just getting by with like, oh, he almost lost the title, but then
The
Silva
bloodline saved them.
yeah, the save. You don't want to repeat that.
And also another thing too is Roman doesn't do all the international shows. Obviously he'll do WrestleMania, but it's one of those things too. It's like, would Roman even be there for the build up
Right,
against Oba? Where
right,
it's like if we do it for SummerSlam, we know Roman will be around. And so that's just like do it now because then they're both there. They can build up the feud.
right. And look, you need to strap the rocket to Obafemi as quickly as possible. You cannot, absolutely cannot, have a situation where you cool him off and then it just doesn't feel the same. Prime example here is Braun Strowman. Remember Braun Strowman, for a time and period back in 2017, they strapped the rocket to this guy and it felt like he was on the verge.
That was after he left the White, right? That's kind of when
After he
became
left the Wyatts, and he was on his own. You remember a time where Braun Strowman was on the verge, and it looked like they were going to put not the undisputed, but the Universal title on him. It looked like they were going to have him beat Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, 'cause they gave him the money. They also gave him the Money in the Bank contract.
Right. But
Um,
here's the deal: Vince McMahon had a cold feet about Braun Strowman, and he was like, "Well, let's just have him wait. We'll have him wait till WrestleMania." By then, it cooled off.
yeah,
By
and
2018, remember what he was doing in WrestleMania in 2018? 34? He was tagging with
he won
Nicholas.
the tag team titles with the 10-year-old.
Yes. So you do not want that to happen to Obafemi. You put the world title on him as soon as possible. You strap the rocket to this guy because you cannot afford to cool him off. Look at the reaction he's getting. Look at that reaction he got
Getting louder. They're
on
getting
Monday
louder
night.
every week.
What were they saying? What was that? Like, how do they do it? I don't know. I forgot how they were doing it, but I mean that reaction to Obafemi was that was incredible. I mean, he had to pause himself to let them continue. Then he told them, "All right, let's calm down here. Let's collect ourselves."
Yeah, which that's how you know he's big when the fans like hijack the
No.
show.
And no, granted, it was overseas, and overseas they always
They
do
all
that.
deliver, which is fine. That's why we love the international shows and the
But
international crowds.
you cannot afford to cool off Obafemi. So look at all roads need to lead to Roman Reigns defending the world heavyweight title against Obafemi at SummerSlam. That's where it needs to go.
And losing to Obafemi.
Losing. Now Obafemi, we brought up this concept before, where SummerSlam can be the Obafemi weekend. Night one has his rubber match against Brock Lesnar, beats him, and then night two he gets crowned world heavyweight champion.
Yeah. And the interesting thing could be to make the night one happen to add, some more stakes. Brock can be like, oh well, I'm also a former king of the ring, so why don't you put your crown and opportunity on the line against me? And then Oba's like, okay, I'll do it if you put your career on the line.
Yeah, it could work like that too. Definitely, definitely. But same time, this needs to be the Obafemi summer,
And
and
it's been a while since we've seen somebody pull double duty on a two-nighter.
look at they can make it work. Obviously you don't want to have him out there so much where the fans get tired of him, but I don't think that's going to be the case right away. And
Well, also we know let's say if that situation happens where he does wrestle night one and night two, we already know his match with Brock will be less than 10 minutes,
right, yeah, no, exactly. It's
and
another car crash,
that's a match that could kick off night one.
right? Not just like WrestleMania, just like WrestleMania. But at the same time, look, you need to be able to take advantage of while this guy is really really hot and strap him up, man, because you just do not want to be able to think, oh, we could wait and then cools off.
And
So,
and the hard thing is, I don't know if we can trust creative right now.
right, yeah.
I mean, they have Jey Uso in the finals. They have
Okay,
the
yeah.
Women's
So
World Champion in the
let's
final.
let's transition to the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring. In the finals, you have Jey Uso versus Obafemi. We all kind of know how this is going to work out. Unfortunately, we know that Brock Lesnar. I mean, look, we don't know until it actually happens, right? But
And who knows? Hope maybe to our surprise, in a positive way, maybe Brock doesn't show up,
maybe not.
or maybe he shows up after.
Yeah. But at the same time, we know that Brock is going to interfere in this, and unfortunately, we're going to see
I
King
hope
Yeet.
I hope not, and I know you hope not either.
It's not that I hope not. I just don't want like I just think that would be not as good as what a King of the Ring Obafemi would look like. Look at Jey Uso. He's a great entrance. He's a great superstar. He's a great
That's but he had his push.
moneymaker. But World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso, like literally in the main events, we don't need to see it anymore.
Yeah, he didn't step up. You could tell it was too much for him.
Look at they squeezed that rag as far as they could, milking in that money with him and the entrance and the merchandise, and that's great. Like he's a really talented
And
individual in that way.
there's another thing that how you mentioned Brock interfered. One thing I could see, what if LA Knight interferes and costs Jay?
Oh, it could happen. It could happen. It could happen. Yeah, that
So
definitely.
I could see it going both ways.
Yeah. hmm Let's
And then
let's talk about LA Knight really quick. Do you think
yeah,
do you think that LA Knight is kind of at the point where it's to no return, meaning that they're not going to do anything with this guy going forward? It just seems like he's on the wrong side of 40. They
I mean,
Triple H is clearly
I feel like the one positive out of it is that he's feuding with the guy with the world champion, like indirectly with the family, but it's also like we've
yeah, but
already seen.
that's okay, but that's LA Knight in a
And he's been
nutshell.
stuck. He's
Yeah,
been stuck in the bloodline vortex and the vision vortex for the better part of like 3 years now.
he's never going to be pushed to that tip top main event level.
Because apparently the higher ups think, oh, Jey Uso is a safer bet to push,
Right. And so
which is absurd.
LA Knight's better in the ring. I
Yeah,
think they're both.
and you know what the higher up said? They said Jey Uso's better in the ring,
Mhm.
which I'm like, okay, you guys clearly are.
I don't know. I don't know if higher ups think that. I mean, maybe just by the way they present him on television, but
I think they're saying the merch. The merch thing I understand. The merch I understand. Okay, because I think Jay does sell a lot of merch, so that I can understand the merchandise thing and the fact that he's like, oh, he is a somewhat of a big name. I get that, but it's like the whole thing is about you want to push guys you've never pushed before. and it's clear the fans want LA Knight.
Yeah.
But for some reason, creative is taking it as like, we'll give you Jay. And the fans are like, we don't want Jay. We want LA Knight. They're like, well, here's Jay.
Basically, that's the way they see him. That's the way he's been pigeonholed, and I just think that Triple H doesn't look at him as a tippy top main event guy, and he's always going to be stuck in that kind of, yeah, he can main event Raw, he can main event SmackDown, he can main event whatever show you want, but he's never going to be looked upon as one of the guys.
It's one of those things. It looks like his peak is US champion, and
I
that's
think
it.
his peak was him tag teaming with John Cena.
Yeah, because that's pretty much when his push started.
Yeah.
That's when started becoming over because he also just recently became a babyface
Mm-hmm.
at that point because he was a heel
Right. Yeah.
before.
Mm-hmm. But
So
I digress. We can go back into the Queen of the Ring. I just think that LA Knight is, it just seems like he's there,
he's
but
dead in
never
the
gonna
water.
be there.
Dead in the water.
Yeah, kind of.
But King of the Ring finals, it's Io Sky versus the Women's World Champion, which oh god, it's just sad.
Yeah. Look,
And
they had so many people.
she should be defending her championship.
I get the story that they're trying to tell. Oh, I want everything, but come on, you could have used another um more ready superstar or female superstar to put in this position, and they chose not to.
No, imagine having a young up and comer like Roxanne Perez in the finals
Right.
against Io Sky.
Roxanne.
Everyone was like, "Oh, but Io Sky's a multi-time women's champ." Yeah, but Io Sky is also the best women's wrestler on the planet.
Or maybe pushing somebody that we didn't even know, like expect. You know, there's so many talented women on the roster right now. You're telling me that you can only have put in Liv Morgan in there? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me. But I get the story that they're trying to tell with Liv wanting, saying that she wants it all. But we all know this is coming to a collision with Io Sky, and that Io Sky is going to be crowned. My prediction is that Io Sky will be crowned
Yeah.
Queen of the Ring.
But I also don't think it'll be clean because this is where I could see potentially Stephanie Vaquer returning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could also see a Judgment Day run in.
And yes, I could see an implosion.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you know what? Roxanne's been ignored by Liv lately.
yeah, yeah. It's been all about Liv, and so
So you have the possibility of Stephanie Vaquer coming back, and you have the possibility of Roxanne and or Raquel turning.
you know what would be great if they did in this match? Just make it all the what Pat Patterson would say, make it all about the banana, or not the banana, the Gaga. The Gaga. You need all the Gaga in this match. You need run-ins. You need Roxanne. You need Raquel. You need all
Gotta
of them.
progress, yeah, pretty much build to your next story with this current story.
Right. You need the implosion of the Judgment Day. You need Stephanie Vaquer in there. Kind of like WrestleMania 40, we used to see like, run-ins, but like
Bloodline rules. How it was Bloodline rules. We saw, Jimmy Uso, Jay Uso,
yeah.
Cena, The Rock, The Undertaker,
Yeah.
which is still by far the greatest 5 minutes in the history of professional
It
wrestling.
was.
That
Definitely.
was whew. But
Exactly.
yeah, you gotta have. I'm not saying you gotta have it exactly like that, but it's very similar to it.
Exactly. Yes, very similar. Have all the Gaga, like Pat Patterson would say, and that's when the crowd would really be into this match. And then you have Io Sky get the big victory.
And also keep in mind too, it's an international crowd too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we all know they're going to be covered up from head to toe, but it's a different subject. But yeah, I think you just need to really provide this match with a lot of interference and a lot of Gaga.
And then you know what the interesting thing would be is if Io wins, does she go after Liv or does she go after Rhea? Because keep this in mind, Rhea has never beaten Io Sky
True.
one-on-one.
True. Yeah, I think either way you can play but in both directions. Actually, that'd be really interesting if she went after Rhea Ripley. So That could be a SummerSlam main event as well. One of the main events for one of the nights
Especially
of
because
SummerSlam.
the last match Rhea and Io had was
Right.
amazing.
Right.
That
And plus two,
evolution.
look, WWE, they need to make it up to Io Sky by putting her in a big time main event match at SummerSlam
Especially
because
because, she didn't even have a match on the WrestleMania card.
it's a shame. It's a goddamn shame. It's a goddamn shame. But all right. Um
So your final King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring predictions are Jey Uso and Io Sky.
yes. Yeah, that's mine. How about yours?
I know people may disagree with circumstances. I think it's Oba Femi and Io Sky. I still think there's somehow Oba Femi finds a way to do it.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now,
But
so,
again, like I said, I can see it both ways. But I still think Oba pulls it off.
mhm. I can see that. Either way, I think well, it'll be interesting to see how they go about it. Either way, I think we get a lot of interference and Gaga in probably both matches. I could see it going down. All right. Kind of switching subjects here. I wanted to have this conversation with you on the podcast because we had a text thread about Vince McMahon the other day. And okay, let me preface this. There's been a lot of rumor and innuendo about Vince McMahon, his legal troubles, the way they're gonna almost settle with the Janelle Grant stuff. And that's maybe kind of leading Vince McMahon back into the fold of WWE. Okay, if this was 2 years ago, even last year, I would have said there's no way Vince McMahon comes back. There's no way. He's such a disgraced individual. There's no way that TKO brings him back. But for several reasons here, look at let's look at it this way. Let's look at the way TKO runs their business. They don't give a flying F of who they bring in, right? As long as it pops a rating, as long as it brings in money, they don't give a flying F. They brought back Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar, yes, he wasn't directly the guy involved in that case, but he was named in that lawsuit, right? And they brought him back. And so they brought him back at a time when all this wasn't even ended yet. They brought him back. Look at the way TKO runs their business in terms of their
Yeah.
greed.
And there's another thing that I want to mention. I don't know if you saw it, but Ari Emanuel also said a Vince McMahon return is not impossible.
Right. There you go. There you go. But look at is it morally wrong for them to bring back Vince McMahon at this point? Yes, you can argue that. I just think that TKO doesn't give a flying fuck about
And,
morals.
and the thing is, it's like if Vince comes back, is he gonna get treated like Hulk Hogan? Is he gonna get booed?
Yeah.
Is he gonna get a pop? Like again, like it's like you said, if this was a year or two ago, no way.
Right.
But now, especially after Ari Emanuel said that, do I think it's gonna happen? Still no. But you can't rule it out.
You can't rule it out, and that's all I'm saying here. Do I wish that Vince McMahon is back with the headset on and running creative? Hell no. We look at the last several years Vince McMahon was under the helm of creative. It was dog shit. And the reason why I bring this up is this. Recently, JBL and Teddy Long and several other people have vocally expressed that they want to see Vince McMahon back in a power position in WWE, running creative or CEO, whatever they want. Like they want to see Vince McMahon back in a leadership role. And I'm thinking, why would you want that? Like,
And at the same time, too, he sold most of his stake, so he barely has any say now anyway.
well, he's still, I think, one of their majority shareholders. Is
Yes,
so,
but he
well,
but it's not enough for him to like
right. So the last
over
time,
power. So it's like
so
regardless, he still doesn't have enough of a say to be in a position of power.
So in 2022, when Vince originally retired, it was because the Janelle Grant stuff started coming out, and he was basically talked into a retirement. But then several months later, in early 2023, he used his majority shareholding power to get the shareholders to get him back into the company. Now they had a meeting. They had a meeting in which they agreed upon bringing back Vince McMahon, and it was almost unanimously no. I believe the only I forget who was the only
So
person that said
it was unanimously no.
okay, it was.
It was unanimously no.
All right. Regardless,
At least for him to be, I think it was for him to be back in like the position he was before.
regardless, that really didn't matter because Vince McMahon overturned that and overpowered that situation, and he was back running creative by WrestleMania of that year. In fact, if you read into the scripts of not the scripts, but like the legalized documents of this lawsuit, they were using a platform I believe called Signal. Um, they were using a platform called Signal to basically communicate with each other. Ari Emanuel, Vince McMahon, basically they were using it to communicate on how they were going to run creative. Um, Text messages were sent again, and then text messages were deleted. And that's what kind of brought up this whole new lawsuit in terms of Vince McMahon and Ari Emanuel deleting evidence for the lawsuit. But in those text messages, Vince McMahon was texting Triple H, I believe, saying, "Hey, has Cody and Roman, something about their upcoming like promo or their match at WrestleMania, something in that regard of like, um, they need to focus on what was it? Basically they're using Signal to kind of use the creative for their upcoming WrestleMania match. And then you know, several months later, Vince McMahon is back in running creative with Triple H and WWE. And that's how it was like that for the rest of the year. It was like that for the rest of the year. And it was only up until I believe again the Wall Street Journal started bringing out more stuff about the Janelle Grant case when Slim Jim decided to pull out. They decided to pull out of their newly agreed upon sponsorship with WWE. And so if it wasn't for that, Vince McMahon would still be in a leadership role within WWE. So
Yeah, so it's crazy that because they were afraid it's going to cause a domino effect. They're like, because what if our other sponsors pull out and then boom, we're losing a ton of money. So pretty much Vince became the scapegoat, and they're like, well, Vince, you got to go.
right. Yeah.
It pretty much got to the point they're like, Vince, if you care and love this company so much, you will leave.
Right. Right. Exactly. It was basically it all came down to the money. It was like, hey, Slim Jim is going to cost us millions and millions of dollars cutting out of their sponsorship. Your
Yeah.
ass needs to go.
And it's one of those things. It's like, who's next? Who's gonna be the next to pull out?
Right.
Are people going to be afraid to try to have a sponsorship with us?
Right. Right.
So yeah, so inevitably Vince became the scapegoat in all of it. Um, so he left, basically to save face, but also save the company money. Um, but yeah, when you look at it, talk about it today, do I see Vince coming back? No, I don't think there's a reason or a point for him to come back. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
There's look at
especially people like, oh, for the Hall of Fame. No, because Vince himself has says he does not want to be inducted in the Hall of Fame while he's alive.
look. Do I see it happening? I think that anything is possible. I think that as long as there's rumor and innuendo about it, there's always going to be smoke to this fire. And if they continue to bring his name up, if they continue to be like, "Oh, time has passed. Oh, we can bring him back,"
Yeah,
then
it's
then
one of those things. I feel like he's not as blacklisted as he once was. But go ahead, finish your thought.
yeah,
Sorry.
I think like as long as they're continuing to just be like, "Well, maybe it's a possibility," then I think like the chances of him coming back are real. And I think do not be surprised. I'm telling you this right now. Do not be surprised if we ever see Vince McMahon on WWE television again, because I think that's a real possibility. I think it is.
And yeah, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just I didn't want to lose my train of thought. But my train of thought is like, He's not as blacklisted as he once was. Remember, they wouldn't say his name. They blocked him out from everything.
Yeah.
And one thing that I don't know if you noticed it, but I noticed it because I was there when I was at John Cena's retirement match. Vince was in the video package.
Yeah. I mean, they showed that on
They
TV.
showed him. They showed him clearly in the video package,
Right.
which made me start to think. I was like, okay, he's not as blacklisted as he was before. This
Right.
doesn't mean he's coming back, but it goes to show, like, okay, see, they're not entirely erasing the dude from their
Right.
history.
Right. Sorry. Sneeze.
Well, yeah, but so bless you. But that's another thing I want to take as like another sign of like, see, even that I feel like that also opened the door because it's like, look, they're not erasing him entirely
Right. They're not.
because if it was really that bad or way worse, they would have cut him off. They would have cut him out that video package.
Look, if it was never a criminal case. It was never a criminal case with Vince McMahon. He was never going to jail. He was never going to do time. It was never any of that. And so it was always going to be a situation where they're going to let this court case ride out. This lawsuit. It was a lawsuit. They're going to let the lawsuit ride out, and however it dealt, they were going to just let it be. And look, we all kind of knew that maybe it could be settled in court, and unfortunately, it's looking like that. Janelle Grant has already pulled out in very many different ways of this lawsuit, and so they're just basically looking at a settlement now, and that's going to be it.
And is being moved behind closed doors, which usually means a settlement is.
Right, and that's it. And after that, Vince McMahon is going to be not a free man. I mean, he's already a free man, but it's going to be put behind him, and who knows? I mean, but look at this. The guy's also what, 81, 82 years old?
80 years old.
80 years old.
We're not saying he's gonna buy the company back. No way in hell is he buying the company
No,
back.
that's not happening.
I don't even think he can afford to.
There's no way he's buying the company back. I mean, he could buy another wrestling company that could be for sale. TNA.
There were rumors that he was gonna start his own company.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know if they ever went through with that or if it fell through, but yeah, you can't rule out if Vince McMahon returned. Do I think he'll be like an authority figure? No. Will he be in a position of power?
No.
No.
But
It'll
on
just be to
screen,
a point. It'll just be to a point where like you might see him every now and then.
could we see the skunk-haired, mustache-looking guy on TV again?
He would
It's a
nah. He would
possibility.
nah. He would probably be like he would probably go back to the way Mr. McMahon was, how we last saw him, which is like gray hair, no mustache.
Yeah, probably. But anyways, off the Vince McMahon subject, we can get into predictions for Night of Champions coming up. I have the full match card listed right here. Let's see here. All right.
And one thing is, it's been confirmed that both King and Queen of the Ring finals will be on the first hour of ESPN.
Very true.
So we
been a
know,
pattern.
yeah. So we know those two matches will be kicking off.
That's been a pattern since WrestleMania.
And I
For the
do
first
like
hour.
that because I feel like they are putting the more like high quality, entertaining matches first. I do like that.
Right. All right.
I
So,
do.
United States Championship match: Trick Williams, the champion, defending against Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints, this is his first match at a singles championship here on the main roster in WWE.
And his first pay-per-view match.
Right, exactly. Altogether, I think this could be a really great match against, Saints and Trick Williams. I just don't think they're going to put the title on Ricky
It's
Saints
Trick.
just
Yeah,
yet.
it's Trick's gonna retain here, especially because I don't think the story with him and Mello are done yet.
Right,
And I think that's where inevitably this leads to next,
right,
because inevitably at the end of the day, I do think Carmelo is the one to take the U.S. title off of Trick.
right. And look,
So
and that's a huge SummerSlam match considering the history between Mello and Trick.
yeah, and we already know without a shadow of a doubt those two are gonna put on a banger.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think Trick Williams here. I don't think Trick's losing.
Then you have the Women's United States Championship match: Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill.
Uh, Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
because I feel like Jade and Charlotte aren't done yet. And this is why I think Charlotte gets involved.
I mean, honestly though, I could see it going either way. If they want to have another shock win at keeping Jade Cargill strong, and
But
maybe
also she stood tall on because like I said, I already saw what happened on SmackDown. She stood tall, and you know what that means.
you just don't want to, because Jade Cargill was women's champion for a long time, and then if she were to lose again here to Tiffany Stratton, that's really putting her, downgrading her on the roster. And so I don't know what if they want to give her another loss, but again, I can also see them keeping Tiffany Stratton strong.
The reason I think Tiffany retains is because I think the end goal is Blake Monroe takes the title off of Tiffany Stratton
Mm, mm,
because Blake Monroe did just debut
true, true.
yesterday.
All right, yeah.
So I think it's Tiffany Stratton. And like I said, I think Charlotte gets involved because I do think we get Charlotte and Jade Cargill at SummerSlam.
Mm, yeah. Um, you got the rubber match here: Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker in a steel cage match.
I gotta go with Seth here. I think they gotta get him away from this feud. And also a fun fact: Seth Rollins has never lost a steel cage match.
Hmm. I would agree with you, but like, man, Braun Breaker needs a big victory here. He just needs a big victory again. Like, you want to keep this guy strong. You want to be able to keep this guy as a focal point going forward into the main event scene. Going forward, I mean, again, a loss doesn't hurt Seth Rollins as much as it hurts Braun Breaker. But I do think in my brain, thinking about it, I do see Seth Rollins getting the victory. I just think that a loss for Braun Breaker would be much more damaging.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm going with Seth just because I definitely feel like they want they you could tell they definitely want to run back Roman and Seth for the title. That's why I'm saying Seth will win because I feel like that'll probably be next in line for him.
Hmm. True. True.
Um, but
Yeah,
then you also have the King of the Ring factor too.
right. So lots of different ways they can go here. Again, you still have Austin Theory as a healthy member of the Vision. Can end up costing
And
Seth
maybe
Rollins.
and maybe we see a returning Bronson Reed.
Returning Bronson Reed, or we see somebody else being added to the Vision here.
Or because we haven't seen him in a couple of weeks, what if we see the Walrus himself return, Paul Heyman?
Yeah. Anything here, right? And so my brain says Seth Rollins. My heart wants Braun Breaker to win this because I just think he needs big win. He got the big win at WrestleMania, but again, you need to carry momentum here for
You mean
Braun Breaker.
Backlash?
Yeah, sorry, Backlash.
Because Seth did win the match on Raw.
Right,
But
right,
also, to be fair, even if Braun loses, he still technically has a losing record against Seth because that would make him 2-3
right. And so,
because Seth beat him at NXT.
right. Um, yeah, I
So
want.
what? So no. So if Braun would win, then that technically would mean it would be 2-2.
Mhm. Again, maybe it's not even the rubber match. I just feel like it's the blow off here. But again, I think they have Seth Rollins win. All right. Queen of the Ring Tournament Finals. Io Sky versus Liv Morgan. We talked
EO.
about this earlier. It's Io all the way here.
It's EO. It's EO, and we both said there's going to be some sort of finish, whether it's Stephanie Vaquer or the Judgment Day.
Yep.
You and I literally have the exact same mindset coming into this match.
Right. Um, then we have the King of the Ring, Jey Uso versus Obafemi. Again, another one that we talked about.
Where we both differ, but we also have the same mindset because we've both said it's going either way.
Right.
I just think it's Oba because I think yes, well Brock may interfere. You also can't rule out well what if LA Knight
Yeah.
interfered?
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I think Oba has a chance because it's like you can't rule out LA Knight getting involved in this.
Right. So again, more hoopla in this King of the Ring finals.
Or Gaga, as you said.
Gaga. And I think Brock Lesnar interferes and costs Oba the King of the Ring, and we see King Yeet.
We need to see the ruler. The ruler needs his crown.
I'm gonna hit you with the ruler. Um, all right, and then last but not least, undisputed WWE title match: Cody Rhodes versus Gunther versus Sami Zayn.
I'm going with Sammy here. I'm going with Sammy for a couple reasons. One, they've been reiterating the fact. What's the one championship Sammy hasn't won in his career?
The world title.
Championship.
Yeah,
Two, they're in Saudi Arabia. He's loved in Saudi Arabia.
right. Now look. I think you're 100% right in all that. I just do they really take the title off of Cody Rhodes before SummerSlam? SummerSlam? That's that's a big question right there. It's a big
Yeah, that's
question.
especially because we still have a Randy Orton. Where's he
Right,
been? But that's unfinished business still.
right. So again, I think there's
And then
like
even though we haven't seen him in a while because he's filming another movie, you still have Drew McIntyre.
true. Now look, I think it's more likely Cody Rhodes retains, even though I don't want to see that. Um, second behind that, I think it's likely that Sami Zayn gets a token title run here, a big win in Saudi Arabia, and I think the least uh bit of scenario here is that Gunther wins. Um, yeah, a Gunther win would be shocking, to be
Because
honest.
this is what I think is happening. It's either Gunther or Sammy taking the pin. I don't think Cody takes the pin. I would be shocked if Cody takes the pin.
Right. Again, I would love to see Sami Zayn win the title. I just don't think my brain is telling me Cody Rhodes retains.
Well, because we know Cody's probably pulling out his wallet. Triple H be like, okay, how much you want? How much you want?
Right. Exactly. But yeah, that's a pretty good match card for Night of
And
Champions.
I honestly, I think Night of Champions has potential to be a good pay-per-view.
I think so too. It's just a matter of capitalization here. Look at all the pay-per-views have the potential to be good. It's a matter of how
And it,
they
and it's and
execute.
it's and it's like we've said, it's been kind of a trend. The ones that aren't really being hyped up as much are usually the ones that end up being some of the better shows of the whole year.
Right.
Like look at Backlash. Backlash, in my opinion, was is one of the better shows of 2026.
At Backlash.
Yeah. If you ask me, I think Backlash has been one of the better pay-per-views of 2026.
Yeah. I think so. But again, Night of Champions has a lot to it. They have the King of the Ring. They have some other storylines going into it, and I think this has the potential to be a good one. Again, it's all about execution.
And notice what championship isn't being defended.
The world title.
Well, actually, also the IC title is not being defended either, which I'm also kind of surprised because Penta's been putting in that work.
He has been. He's been really carrying in a lot of good matches, great matches on
But
Monday Night Raw.
speaking of the Intercontinental title, also one thing that happened on Raw this past Monday is Chad Gable's been talking to Penta, and then Dom says, "There's no way you're getting an Intercontinental Championship match before me." I think next week we're getting Dom and Gable, and the winner gets Penta.
I think so too. Yeah,
So is
and
Chad Gable finally going to get the push we've all been dying to see him have?
dude, they need to capitalize off of this. They really needed to set up a Chad Gable Intercontinental title match at SummerSlam versus Penta. That's the
And
direction
oh,
they need to
and
go.
trust me, I love Penta. I absolutely love Penta. But Chad Gable deserves the Intercontinental Championship.
It's now or never with this guy. We've seen it with so many guys before, and you've
And
seen,
and also keep in mind, I don't think a lot of people realize this. Chad Gable is also 40 years old.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's now or
He's
never.
not
You've seen
young.
it with Dolph Ziggler. You've seen it with Rusev. You've seen it with all these other guys that have
Literally seen it with LA Knight.
LA Knight. You need to be able to, and I'm not saying that Chad Gable is going to win any world title, but now is the time to properly push this guy. It's a time. That's
Because
it.
I think this is probably the time where he's actually being taken the most seriously by the fans.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
say what you want about the El Grande Americana gimmick. That gimmick literally put Chad Gable to the moon.
They did.
And
Certainly
look what it's
did.
doing for Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah.
Say what you want about that gimmick. That gimmick has helped both men.
Right. Now look, whether it's at SummerSlam or it's on Saturday night's main event coming up. Um,
And it would be great to have it at SummerSlam because Chad Gable is from Minnesota.
yeah, I agree. Now, look, he's been on the apology tour for many weeks now,
It's
and
funny. So Chad Gable can apologize to everybody in a week, but Roman Reigns refuses to apologize to his own family. What a hypocrite.
oh my gosh, see, that's just Roman Reigns in a nutshell. Roman Reigns in a nutshell. He's same guy, babyface or heel. But all right. So, like you said at the beginning of the podcast, it is a big weekend for professional wrestling. We also
Yeah.
have the next day AEW for Forbidden Door. Now, look at Forbidden Door hasn't been the same since the first Forbidden Door in 2022, but it's still a good pay-per-view for AEW. Still a marquee pay-per-view for AEW, and in the main event is going to be a six man versus six man steel cage match with Captain Mark Briscoe
Oh, I
leading the
heard. Yeah, I
babyface
heard.
squad, and
I did.
AEW World Champion AM MJF leading the heel team. And so, if Briscoe sides wins, he earns a future world title match against the scumbag champion.
So it's Mark Briscoe, and then who the other two?
And so they need. Let's see here.
It is the baby faces versus the heels, obviously, but
Right.
uh, I don't know if you said who the other participants were. Ooh, this is an interesting thing I just saw.
What's up?
Former WWE star reportedly set to make debut at TNA Slammiversary.
Oh,
Also, let's mention one thing about TNA because this guy's been a staple for TNA pretty much his whole career outside of ECW. Tommy Dreamer
oh
no
wow.
longer in TNA.
Oh wow. All right.
Him and TNA parted ways.
So Team MJF will be Kazuchika Okada, Kyle Fletcher, Andrade El Idolo, Kevin Knight, and Jake Doyle versus Mark Briscoe, Darby Allin, uh, Takeshita, Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. So some formidable names there in the six versus six steel cage match. Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, former members of the Undisputed Era in NXT. Let me just run down this Forbidden Door card right here. You have Kenny Omega versus Zack Sabre Jr. That should be a great match. AEW Women's World Championship match. Tekla versus Starlight Kid. AEW Continental Championship match. John Moxley versus Bandito. IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship match. Shota Umino versus Pac. And then the AEW World Tag Team Championship, Edge and Christian versus David Finlay and Clark Connors, the Dogs. And then you have a three-way match, the Young Bucks versus Mystique. Yeah, Mystico and Mascaro Dorada. So, oh no, and then in the 0 hour pre-show, you have the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, the Women's World Tag Team Championship match. Megan Bayne and Lena Cross versus Thunder Rosa and Olympia. So,
Yeah, so
formidable
the
cards right
rumor
there.
here, so the rumor here for TNA Slammiversary is that Baron Corbin could be making his debut versus Mustafa Ali.
Look at nobody gives a shit about Baron Corbin.
Hey, you shut your mouth and show some respect, all right?
Nobody gives a crap.
I let you have your time with that pissant company AEW.
Nobody gives a crap about Baron Corbin. Nobody did in WWE. Certainly, nobody does now.
We also forgot how we mentioned it's a big weekend. We also I well wait did you mention Great American Bash?
No, I did not.
Yeah, Great American Bash is also happening.
Oh wow! So NXT,
NXT,
Great
yeah.
American.
Pretty much all the promotions are having a pay per view this
Yeah.
weekend.
So again, big weekend in professional wrestling. I know Ryan will definitely be watching Forbidden Door. Ain't that right, Ryan? Ain't that right?
Nope, definitely not.
Come on now. Come on now. You can call yourself a pro wrestling fan. He's just a WWE fan. That's it. He's a WWE mark.
And you're an AEW mark, so shut your mouth.
I like all wrestling.
But anyway, can I go over the TNA Slammiversary card at
Sure.
least?
Yes.
So for the TNA World Championship, we have Mike Santana defending against Nick Nemeth,
Mike
aka
Santana.
or
Uh,
FKA, I should say, Dolph Ziggler.
but Mike Santana, he's been rumored to be coming to
There we go.
WWE.
There we go. That's something I also wanted to mention too. Yes, he has been very heavily rumored. So I wouldn't be surprised if he drops the title here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either.
And
It's
then
Dolph Ziggler.
and then the TNA Knockouts World Championship for the woman is formerly known as Xia Li. Li Ying Li will be defending against Zia Brookside. The TNA X seven way. Wow, we have a seven way for the TNA X Division Championship, where it's the current champion Cedric Alexander
Hmm.
versus Leon Slater versus Frankie Kazarian versus Amazing Red versus Fabian Aichner versus Casey Navarro versus Mr. Elegance.
Hmm.
The TNA World Tag Team Championship is a three-way ladder match. You have the System, Brian Myers and Bear Bronson versus the Righteous Vincent and Dutch versus the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy. And then the TNA International Championship Open Challenge is Mustafa Ali versus a mystery opponent, which is rumored to be Baron Corbin.
Boring Corbin.
TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championship, the Elegance brand, Heather by Elegance, M by Elegance versus Rosemary and Ali. Eddie Edwards versus Moose. Eric Young versus Ricky Sosa. And then AJ Francis, formerly known as Top Dollar,
You mean
versus
Flop Dollar?
versus versus Elijah, formerly known as Elias.
Look at you got so many former WWE stars in there. It's ridiculous.
And then you have and then you've got that TNA partnership. So don't be surprised if some of these guys pop up at Great American Bash or vice versa.
True. Sure. But yeah, Mike Santana, he's been rumored to come to WWE. It'd be interesting to see how he'll be utilized on the WWE current main roster, or if they put him in
Probably.
NXT.
Do you think he's a if he goes to the main roster? Do you think he'd be a mid card guy
Honestly, I can see them putting him in TNA. Sorry, in NXT
first?
first, just so he can help some of the young guys, give him that rub. You
And
know,
and then they still have that partnership with TNA, so that way he could probably still do
yeah,
TNA stuff.
exactly.
But
All
yeah,
right.
and that's the
Well,
Slammiversary card, the Forbidden Door card. Should we go over the Great American Bash?
no, it's all right. People don't need to know about that. It's just NXT. Again, though, I want to thank you guys for continuing your
Oh,
support.
wait. There's one more thing. One more thing that happened on Raw that I forgot to mention.
Mm.
Say his name and he appears. Joe Hendry returned.
Ah, uh, eh, eh, eh.
Returned. He cost division. We have new World Tag Team
Oh, that's
Champions, the
right.
Street Profits.
Street
So that's a
Profits for
pretty
the
big
fifth time.
news.
That is
And
big news.
they're also the first tag team in WWE history to win the NXT tag titles, Raw and SmackDown tag titles, and the WWE and World Tag titles.
Mm. Yeah, huge news in that regards for the tag team titles. Of just the tag team titles feel so
It feels so
useless.
it feels it's a breath of fresh air to see a legitimate tag team like the Street Profits have
Again, though,
them.
but like it's not even about who they put the titles on. What matters most is the tag team division. The tag team division is so lackluster in WWE. They can put the tag team titles on a prime Legion of Doom right now, but what's it going to do if they have nobody to wrestle?
It would be cool to see the Street Profits versus the Usos.
Yeah, but like again though, like we need to build up this tag team roster, this division because it is dog shit dry. It's a dry dog turd that's been sitting there for 2 weeks and it's all white. That's the tag team division in
It,
WWE.
it's funny because I just saw somebody. I think I saw it yesterday on Instagram or something, but they made a joke. It was like, oh, Angelo and Montez got their wives pregnant, and now they're tag team champions.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe it's good news for them, but it's just in terms of how they're being booked. it's great that they're champions again, but like, what does it do if what does it do for the tag team division if they have
And
nobody to
then
wrestle?
and then again, there's still the possible rumor that we might see Endo and Cass coming back.
Sure, yeah, that could happen. That could happen. It's somebody to add to the tag team division, but again,
And one thing that would be interesting, especially it could work because you have that TNA partnership, is if maybe they bring in the Hardy Boys.
sure, I could see that happening for one last run, maybe at WrestleMania around there, but who knows? Again,
Plus,
though,
plus,
again,
I think Street Profits versus the Hardys would be a fun match.
the bigger discussion here is they can add in all these nostalgia acts all they want, but who's going to be there every single week wrestling in the tag team division? Like that's what's most important here.
And we need legitimate tag teams, not these makeshift tag teams like Damian Priest and R-Truth.
Yes, exactly. Right. So I digress in that area.
They gotta get Team HLR in there.
I know. Team HLR, Ryan and Mike.
We'll go snag the WWE tag team titles.
Anyways, all right, guys. We're gonna end today's podcast on that note. Again, Ryan, I want to thank everyone that supports our podcast, supports Lay Some Out Sports Media, that is subscribed, that is following, that is watching, that is listening, that is stalking us in our bedrooms. All of it. I want to thank you guys for your continuous support. All right. Well, any last words, Ryan?
Yeah. Well, thank you guys again for tuning in. We couldn't do this without you. Be on the lookout, for some fun stuff coming up.
Yes, sir. As always.
Keep an eye out on the Instagram, the Twitter. You know what? I might post a couple of polls on the Instagram.
There you go. There you go.
So,
Yeah.
and of course, if you guys have anything you want us to talk about, any questions for us, you can go ahead and shoot us an email at laceemuptakes@gmail.com.
There you go. Shoot us any questions that you may have that we can read here on the podcast.
Maybe
that's very important.
Maybe we do, add in a segment where we answer your guys' questions like a mailbox.
A mailbag. Exactly. That'd be great to have. That's a good point.
Or if you guys have any topics you guys want us to discuss, or you have anything you want us to debate,
exactly.
go ahead, leave it to us because I feel like we debate about a lot of things.
Right.
So we leave it up to you. Like we debate on who the GOAT is, whether people are coming back to the company, who should dethrone champions, anything you guys can think of.
Exactly. All right. Well, until next time, guys, we'll see you.